Hello, welcome to this tutorial. I'm Morris Dimba, and today we are going to detail a reinforced staircase in AutoCAD using AutoRebar plugin. This plugin, you can get it from Autodesk App Store and download it from there. Now, if you take a look on the screen, you can see my staircase already in place. And this is now a simple thing you can do, and no one can find this one hectic to come up with. And today we are discussing only how we can fix or lay rebars on this particular staircase. Now, using these two tools, AutoCAD tools, we combine them with AutoRebar and we come up with the perfect details. Now, let's begin. If you take a look on the screen here, you can see already I'm on AutoRebar toolbar here. Though I have several tools here, so I've just picked on AutoRebar and AutoCAD. Now let's begin. We have the two landings, 1 and 2, and let's get started. I'll come to Rebar here. So the moment you invoke this command, Rebar, you'll be able to see at the bottom end here you're being requested to specify the size of the rebar. So you can see it is 3, but I've scaled it up to make it 10. But I know in my mind the rebar I'm going to lay is Y10. So those are the tips and tricks on detailing. Now let me begin. I'll enter that, the size of my rebar right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going straight to start laying. I'll start all the way from this far end. I'll begin from that spot. I'll start from that spot and move all the way. And you can see when you are on auto mode, you'll not be able to follow this profile. So what you do, you switch off your auto mode, and I'll go all the way to this far end and terminate it right there. Move down by activating my auto mode, and I'll come all the way to bottom end here and move all the way this way and come up around 100 or 120 or 110 right there. Perfect. Right click and terminate it from there. So you can see my rebar here. So it's your choice. If you want a thicker line, just double click and change that to thick line, but it won't look something presentable. It will look so bad and not presentable. So just double click on it once again. Just double click on it. Or right click, come to properties right there. Or just double click on it. The dialog box will come up. And change this to thin bar. Now let's move on. I'll come to rebar right there and I'll continue laying my steel bar here. So I'll come all the way to this far end on top here. I'll begin all the way from this end. I'll enter the size of my bar and snap on that spot. Move all the way to that direction, terminate it there, move down by 100 right there, move all the way to this far end here. Then we stretch all the way to the landing, and snap right there. Let me activate my ortho mode right there and right click and click enter. So you can see my bar have come all the way that way and gone all the way to the next landing. So what we're going to do again is to lay another steel on the landing here, but that will begin from this end after entering the size of your bar. So I'll snap on that spot, move all the way to that spot and terminate it right there, come at the bottom end here and move all the way to this far end and terminate it right there. So you see, I want to move down along these threads, but I can't move. You can see the auto mode is on, so you have to deactivate it and come all the way to this far end here and terminate it right there. Right click and click enter. So that's it. So the next is the rebars on this section at the bottom end here. We'll go back to rebar again, and this time round we are going to start it from here. We'll begin it from here. After entering the size of the rebar, enter that and move all the way to this far end here and terminate it right there, enable auto mode and right click and click enter. That's it. We can select that and drag it after disabling the auto mode, and we can place it somewhere there. That's correct. Let me just disable that. Now we have our rebars in place, and let's continue laying more steel. So I'll come to bar section here, and I'll enter the number of bars I want. I just need 3 and enter that. I'll zoom the bar diameter. Let me just fit 3 and beginning from that spot, enable auto mode, move all the way to that spot and place it right there. So let me just drag that, slightly drag them down. So close. Let me just delete that and begin it once again. How many bars? I need 3, and diameter just to enter 3. So let me start it from that spot right there and terminate it right there. Perfect. And select everything here and drag slightly on that position and drag it slightly down. That's okay. Now let's continue. I'll select on that. Number of bars, I may need 8 at a distance of 150. So I'll begin it from this position here, disable the auto mode and move all the way to that spot. Right click and nothing has been seen. So just undo and you begin it afresh. Number of bars 8, dia is 3, and we'll start once again from this bottom end here right at the corner and move all the way to this far end here and click on that. So we have our bars on that spot. And we'll add another bar here right from here, but this one can just lay, we can just lay a steel bar. Just put it right there, right click and enter that and slightly drag it close to the thread. Make sure you trim that, this far end. Just select and trim it off. Come to the bar here and we want to start laying that bar. So how many number of bars do you want? We want probably 20 right there, and enter, and 3 millimeter and enter that. So we'll begin that from this spot. That's the starting point, and it will stretch all the way to this far end. And we'll terminate it right here. Perfect. And we have our steel bar in place. So we right click once again and repeat the same command. And we'll need three of the bars. Just enter 3 and enter that. We have 3 there, 3 dia, and we'll begin it from that spot, moving all the way to that spot, to this spot right here. Select all these, type MI, enter that. We want to mirror this from this spot, and there we have our bars on the other end. So always try to arrange this so everything will be corrected when you are now marking out your steel bars that will give the correct information on center to center of all the steels. That is that. And we want to lay other steel. We'll pick on this and begin it from this spot. We need probably 20 right there and start from that spot. Begin it from that spot and disable auto mode and move all the way to this far end here. It's not correct. What might have gone wrong is what? We'll come back and begin it. Select once again, we need 20 bars. There we need 3, and we pick our insertion point. Our insertion point will be that, and it'll stretch all the way to this far end here and terminate it right there. We don't need that for now. Delete that. We'll come to bar here, and we need 3. Enter that 3. Then we'll begin it from this spot, and we'll move all the way to this spot. Come back again, just undo that. Click the bars. How many bars we need? 5, and enter. We need the size is 3, and we'll begin from this spot and move all the way and terminate it somewhere here. Perfect. We have our bars in place. We'll come back here again. We need 3 and enter, 3 and enter. We'll start from this spot and move all the way to this far end here. Our bar is in place, and drag that slightly to be off and select everything here and type MI, and we want to mirror this from the same position. It's not accurate, and we want to drag this slightly downward. And once we've done that, select everything, type MI, and we want to mirror this from this position here, and that's it. Right click and enter. So select that, select this one, and slightly drag them inward. So while we are doing the detailing, we'll describe the center to center of these all steel bars. But how you arrange them is key, and how you mark them and describe your steel bars is also very important to direct the engineers on site or the site engineers. Now, we'll zoom out and check the section we've not laid steel. So we'll come back again here and select on that, and we just need 2 bars at 3 millimeter, and we'll do that here. We add some steel bar right there, but they must be in the same line with this, so that's okay. So what we are going to do is very simple. Since you've done that, what we're going to do now is just to start describing or detailing up our staircase. So this is how it looks now. We need some bars, some steel bars here. So this you can just pick and drag after disabling the auto mode. So you can place that one right there and you can enter that. So that's it. So always save your work, because you never know, you might lose everything when power goes off, in case you're using desktop or your laptop, but you are running out of power. So let's begin detailing or describing or marking out our steel bars. So just type LE on your keyboard and you start marking all this, describing all these things you're seeing on the screen here. So we'll begin with that, and just enable auto mode and pick on that and type escape right there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to select on that and select move, and I want to start describing this. So I'll select on, pick that text, copy that text somewhere here, copy that text somewhere here, double click or select it, right click and come to scale, and you can scale this down. You can scale this down. We want to scale this down right like that because you don't want that big text. So I'll double click on the text here and start feeding my own descriptions. So this will point on 100 millimeter thick, 100 millimeter thick floor, thick ground floor slab, So that's it, and just enter that and select on it, drag it down slightly like that, pull it aside, and that's it. We have the information at the bottom end there. So we have that in place. So the next one, we are going to describe this bar. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pick on this arrow and select on it, come here after disabling the ortho mode and place it on the top of that, select on it, right click and come to rotate. And you want to rotate it slightly like that. Select on this arrow and drag it and point it somewhere there. So just press escape on your keyboard. So what I'm going to do, just pick the same text, pick the copy and place it somewhere here. So once you've done that, we want to describe this bar. We want to describe this bar by double clicking on this text and highlighting on everything here, and we'll describe this as a Y. A Y means the either a round bar or twisted bar, but normally we give it a Y prefix or a Y tag. So we'll give it, this will give it Y12, Y12 at a distance of 150 millimeter, center to center, C stroke C, that's center to center. So we've given a description for that. So just enter that and drag this text to that position right there. Double click on this arrow and change this to a different one. We'll give it this or a different one. Let me just move down and you can give it a dot blank. Close that. Move it slightly and place it somewhere there. So that's perfect. So the next one will be, we'll select this arrow, copy it, and bring it somewhere here or somewhere there. We are pointing on this particular bar and we want to give it a description. So that one will be Y16. We'll carry this and copy this text here. We'll copy this text here. So this one will be Y16. We'll give it Y16 at a distance of 200 center to center. Distance of 200 center to center, 200 millimeter center to center. That's it. And we are going to the next one, the bottom end. We are going to pick everything here. Pick the arrow first and select copy, and you'll pick on this. First of all, always disable and enable ortho so that it doesn't mess you up. So I'll pick on this one and I'll give it a description and I'll drag this one slightly up somewhere there so that we get some space. I'll terminate it right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick this same text, select on that text and I want to be more accurate, I'll pick it from that snap and snap it right there. So I'll give it a description of Y12 similar to this Y12. So instead, this should be 200 millimeter. 200 millimeter, just escape that. 200 millimeter. So we get rid of 10, and we can carry this text all the way. You can carry this text instead of that. We don't want to write anything, and we can copy it from that spot, and we place it somewhere here. Just disable that, because we've copied even the arrow. Select on that and pick it from this spot, and we'll place it somewhere there. Perfect. Now on the bottom end, we want to highlight on this. So I'll select on this, copy it somewhere there, just drag it and place it there. So what I'll do, I'll come to rotate and rotate it. That's why I've insisted that you make sure you disable your ortho mode. So I've disabled that, so I'll be able to control this the way I want, and I'll be able to place it somewhere there. I'll be able to place it somewhere there. I'll come here and just pick on this, select, and place it somewhere here. That is the description for that. So we're moving step by step. So I'll come here also and type LE, enter on my keyboard, and highlight on this toolbar and come down, anywhere ortho mode, and come down here and press escape. So I'm going to pick on this, pick on that, select on that, disable ortho mode, and I'll place it somewhere here. I've indicated that. 200 center to center. Perfect. Now the next one, I'm going to pick on this. I'll pick on LE, enter that, and I'll pick on this. Move all the way up, somewhere there. Just press your middle button and hold, and we'll be able to drag. And I'll press escape and pick on this Y12. Pick it from that spot. Enable ortho mode, hold it from that spot, and be able to place it on that spot. Drag it aside, and that's it. Select on this and place it somewhere there. Drag it all the way to that side. So this is how it looks. So we want this to match this arrow. So just type match on your keyboard and pick match property. Select on that, and you want to match this to match. You want that to match this and to match this. Perfect. So we are moving on the same way. I'm going to type LE and pick on this, drag it aside and place it somewhere there, and press escape. So I'm going to pick this once again, select on that, right click, and pick it from that spot and snap it right there. Right click and escape or enter. I'll place it somewhere there. So we want to shorten this slightly and escape that, select the text, move it slightly inward, and that's it. We've labeled that. So remember, we're going to also highlight on this. Select, and I'll pick on this bar. Remember to disable the ortho mode or snap. So I'll drag it down, terminate it there, snap there, and don't enter, just press escape to terminate that leader. So select on it and drag it slightly inward. So what is the size of this? The size of this is Y16. So I'm going to pick this text here and move it up. place it somewhere there. Perfect. Now just type Match Pro on your keyboard, and we want to match this and that and that. Perfect. That you can see we've labeled that. So which sections are remaining need to be labeled? On top here, we want to label the steel bars on the landing here. I'll snap on that spot and make sure we are in ortho mode and snap on that spot and press escape. So what I'm going to do, I'll see what size of the steel bar we need, and I'll pick Y16 from this end and pick it all the way and take it on the other end. I'll just place it somewhere here. This is how simple you can describe or you can detail your rebars. So the next one, I'm going to pick on the next leader. Just type LE and pick on this. Enable ortho mode and drag slightly downward, move aside, select that spot, don't move, don't make any step, press escape to terminate your leader on that spot. So what is the size of this bar? We are going to give it a Y12. So where is Y12? We'll pick on that, right click and come to copy and come to snap. We are going to place it right there, and it's like we are somehow finalizing up with our steel bars. So that's the part of the steel bar we finalized. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just continue labeling up or detailing our staircase. So I'll label that as my first floor. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the same text and modify. Let's drag it up and place it somewhere here. Double click on it. So in here, I'm going to drag this slightly, or double click here. So this will be 150 millimeter, 150 millimeter thick slab. This will be thick slab. This will be thick slab, thick RC. You just move step by step so that you get this point clear. RC means reinforced concrete. First floor. First floor. First floor. Slab to details. First floor slab to details. Slab to details. To engineers details, and that's it. So this how it's done. Just double click on that and enter. So just drag it, and that sits well the way you want it. So the next one, we are going to label this. We are going to the bottom end here, we are going to label this. So we can do, just pick this and drag it somewhere here and make sure we are in the same line and place it somewhere there. So this will be 100 millimeter thick ground slab, ground floor slab, and here there are rebars here. Ground floor slab with Y6 with Y6 with Y6 at 200 center to center, 200 millimeter, center to center. Perfect. Going both ways. And just get rid of this first slab, BW, or BW both ways. So this will be, let me just double click on that and enter that, and I'll terminate it from here. Enter that. So this will look like this. So this will be 100mm thick ground floor slab. Ground floor slab. Ground floor slab, and let me just drag this slightly up. Ground floor slab with Y6 to at 200mm center to center both ways. But BW means both ways. Now the next part we are going to pick on or to label is very simple. There's some parts we've not labeled here. So we are going to pick on this. Just type LE and we'll pick here. Come down right there and drag it slightly away and press escape. And what we're going to pick, we'll pick we'll pick Y16. We'll give it Y16 and we'll place it somewhere here. Perfect. Center to center is 200, center to center, that's correct. So this is slightly how it looks. So we start dimensioning, or we start labeling everything. We'll still continue LE and label this, that, and make sure your auto mode is on, that, and you'll terminate right there, and pick the text here and modify. Select the text and modify, select it, enable auto mode and place it somewhere here. Right click and enter, and this is the floor, the top of the floor. I'll give it a 3 meter high, 3.15 meters. First floor, give it first floor, first floor slab level, and we'll close that bracket like that. Make it look nice, make it look more presentable or more professionally done, and we'll place it right there. Now we need this. We'll label this, label auto mode, make sure that is in line. Perfect. Terminate that. So we'll just pick that text, drag it down here, and we'll give this will describe the size of this beam. This will be 500 millimeter, 500 by just 500 by 400 millimeter. RC beam to engineer's approval. Perfect. We're on track, and that's it. And just double click on that and enter. Just select on the text and move it slightly down like that. Perfect. We have that in place. So we'll come and type LE once again and enter, and select on the landing here. Select on the landing. We'll disable the auto mode all the snaps. Type LE once again. Type the LE once again. LE, enter. Then we'll snap right here, come all the way out, make sure all these are in line, and we'll terminate it right there. Press escape and just pick on this text and drag it down here and modify, right click, and that's it. Now we'll describe this slab, this landing. Just double click on this on the text, and this will be 150 millimeter thick RC landing. That's it. Slab to engineers details. To engineers details. To engineers details. Details. Those details will come on a different sheet. So what we're doing first is just to detail or to give the right information for our staircase. Now we'll pick on this with the arrow and drag it down all the way to somewhere here. Pick on this beam, place it right there, and describe that beam. This will be the same, and at landing level 500 by 400 RC beam, RC stair beam, RC stair beam, to engineer's approval. That's perfect. So we'll select this one also and drag it also and point at this. Remember, we are communicating to people will be using this drawing. We are actually creating a manual for site workers or for site engineer. Now this one will be just double click and select everything, and this will be 400 millimeter thick concrete block walling. Perfect. Click on that, enter on your keyboard, and that's it. So we are coming at the bottom end here, and we want to give some information at the bottom end here. Type LE and point at this. What do we have here? Drag aside and click, press escape. So once you've done that, always pick the text and modify. Select on that text, disable auto, and we'll place it somewhere there and edit. So what we have here, we'll double click on this, select everything, and give it a plus 0.150 or millimeter ground floor. This will be ground floor slab. Perfect. Just select it, drag it and place it on top of that. Delete this. The next is just type LE. LE is just a shortcut for leader, and we want to select on this, enable auto mode, and we'll terminate it from that spot and drag it all outward and terminate it right there. Press escape. So we are going to pick on this text, drag aside, terminate that, and place the text right there. So what information are we going to give here? So this one will be, this will give, we are not highlighting everything, we'll give it a plus 0.00 millimeter ground level. Perfect. This is information. This is the information we have. Just type escape and double click on it once again and enter. So we have that information. So we'll pick on this, right click and come to selection. We'll select on that, we'll place it that, we'll point there. So we want to give a description of this. This will be 400 millimeter thick rumble rubble foundation walling. Foundation walling, not block, let's rubble foundation walling. So that's perfect, and we'll remember to save everything. So the next one, we are going now to start describing everything here. So I'm going to annotate and pick the dimensions. I'll pick on my dimension here. So I want to dimension from this spot to this first thread. From that spot, and I want to do it nicely, and I can start it somewhere here. Just drag, just mouse over that, and make sure you start from that spot and begin it from that spot. So we can terminate it right there. So this one will give it 950 millimeter. We'll enter that or cancel that, right click and come to dimension. So we'll begin that from that spot. From that spot and come all the way to this end. And terminate it here. That is not right, isn't pointing whatever we want. We'll begin it from this spot and that spot. So this will be that. This will be 3 meter. This will be 3 meter. So we'll delete that. Three millimeter. So the description is not yet done. So this, from this end to that end, from this end to this end, we have 10 threads. 10 threads. 10 threads at 300 millimeter. At 300 millimeter, which equals to 3 meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 threads at 300, 300, 300. Let's actually measure that. That's 300. Perfect. Now let's move on with our description. So we'll come to that dimension. So from this end, from this point, from that point to this far end here, this is 1.2 meters. So we can slightly drag this text slightly up so that we don't crowd our drawing. We don't crowd our drawing, and place this somewhere there. Perfect. Press escape. So the next one we are going to do, or we are going to label, we are going to move it up here. So I'll come to dimension here, and we want to dimension from this spot. From that spot, enable snap, and we'll dimension from that spot to this spot here. So this will be 125 or 1.25. So bring it closer right there and terminate it right there. So we'll right click once again and start explaining or giving information about the threads. So from this end to this end, how many threads do you have? This distance is 2.4 meters. So at 2.4 meters, how many threads do we have? So just double click on this text. So once we double click on that text, we have these 8 threads. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to type 8 threads, 8 threads at 300 millimeter, 100 millimeter, that equals 2.4 millimeter. Perfect. That information is clear. Now from the size or the width of our landing will be given in this form. We'll select from that spot and move it all the way to that spot. So the width of our landing will be 1.5. So just type on that, and that information is clear. So the height of our slab, we'll put a line here, just type L, imaginary line of our slab that runs all the way to that end and can terminate it right there. And what we're going to do, just select on it, right click and come to properties, and we'll change the line type here. We'll give a different line type and escape that. So we come to dimension, and we want to explain or elaborate or give details between from landing to the top slab here for the landing. Well, we'll snap on that spot and move all the way to that spot, and that will be 1.35, and terminate it there. So we want to give information on this. So what we are going to do is very simple. We'll select, you can see this is a dimension, and it's not aligning, it has not aligned itself with the dimension. So what we're going to do, we're going to select the text first and press spacebar on our keyboard, and that text will go. So we want to use this arrow to explain what we want to place the information we intend to be, we think should be there. So I'll pick on that text and place it right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select on this text once again, right click and come to rotate, and I'll rotate this. I'll enable my auto mode there. Double click on this and describe all the information here. So this height will have 9 risers. We'll have 9 risers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll have 9 risers here. 9 risers. 9 risers at 150 millimeter, which equals 1.35. That's correct. 1350 millimeter. So if you click outside, you'll see the text aligning itself with this. So double click on that, and we'll try to open this text. Just double click on that. We'll try to open this text, or we can just leave it on that spot. Just drag it and place it somewhere here. But this does look nice for me. it still does look nice. Just drag it. Perfect. We can leave it at that spot. We can leave it there. Perfect. Select everything. We want to play around with this text. It's not the way we want it to be. It's not the way we want it to be, and it should be the way we want it to be. Let's forget about that. Let's move it aside, and we'll pick the best text. Pick on that, come here, place it right there, right click and come to rotate, and we want to rotate this. We want to rotate that, and select on that, right click and come to move. Enable the author mode and place this text here. Here. So let's begin describing or feed the same information here. After enlarging this, so I'll double click here. So we'll have nine risers at 150. 9 risers at 150 millimeter, at 150 millimeter, at 150 millimeter, which equals 1350 millimeter. Perfect. So this is what was giving us a headache, and we've gotten it right. So that will align itself right there. So that's how it should be. So we'll come at the bottom end here and give the same information. From the floor here, what is the height? To the bottom of our landing, what is the height? So we'll drag it all the way to this spot here and terminate it right there. So we'll double click on this text and press spacebar to get rid of that text. So what we are going to do, we'll pick this text and place it somewhere here. Perfect. So we'll have how many on this staircase? How many risers do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 risers. We have 11 risers at 150, which equals to 1650 millimeter. Perfect. So let's just drag this and take it aside. Make sure it's on the same line. So we have this in place. So this how our staircase is looking. So this how it has been done. So let's give some details on the steps or the threads on how the rebars will be. So let me just type S or C and highlight some few threads here. Drag it aside like that and give it a different color, though this should be done by layer. So I'll pick on this text and pick copy. I'll enable that and place that text here. So I'm going to say here C detail detail X. So detail X, I'll pick this. So instead of picking that, I'll just pick this. So once I pick that, I take it up here. I'll take it up here. Make a line, cancel that, repeat a line, and create a line here. Now we want to trim off this, trim off that, and trim off that. So we have these in place. And we'll come to Express and come to Draw, pick a break line, and we'll snap on that spot and snap on this spot, and that's it. Right click and come to break line and snap on that spot and snap here, and that's it. We have a line breaking right there. So in the end, we'll have something like this with rebars in place. So if I drag that and place it somewhere here, this will look like that. So thanks a lot for watching this video, and let's meet on the next presentation. I'm Dimba, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We are moving forward on how we can do more detailing or more rebar detailing in AutoCAD. Thanks a lot, and bye bye. Let's meet then.